I took a look at data on 25 UFC champions and how long it took them to become UFC champion. But before we continue, go down to the comments and guess which fighters you think fought the shortest amount of time and which fought the longest amount of time before becoming UFC champion. Also, like, subscribe, and follow me, Case Hearts. When it comes to becoming champion in the UFC, the road can be long and arduous, but for some, it is an affair so lengthy it can be hard to believe. While most fighters never become champions, for some, persistence really was key for a few of the late blooming champions. They have a bit more wear and tear on them, but with a bit of luck and a lot of never giving up, they made it to the belt, sometimes decades into their careers. And on the other side of this, for a few, it comes faster than a presidential term in the USA. Let's start off with a few qualifiers before we get into it though. We are focusing on UFC champions. Some of these fighters did win other highly touted titles like Strikeforce, Bellator, Pride, Rizin, etc. Some fighters won interim belts. We are not including them unless they are later unified or won a vacant belt. We are rounding years here. We aren't doing days. So some might be a little bit short of a year, some might be a little bit past that year, but generally we're rounding to the closest year for each fighter. So let us begin with all the fighters mentioned. First, we have Amanda Nunes, who went pro in 2008 and won the bantamweight title in 2016. Peter Yan went pro in 2014 and won the belt in 2020. Aljamain Sterling went pro in 2011 and won the bantamweight title in 2021. Max Holloway went pro in 2010 and won the featherweight title in 2017. Alexander Volkanovski went pro in 2012 and won the featherweight title in 2019. Conor McGregor went pro in 2008 and won the featherweight title in 2015. Benson Henderson went pro in 2006 and won the lightweight belt in 2012. Small note, Bendo won the WEC title in 2010. BJ Penn went pro in 2001 and won the lightweight title in 2008. Kamaru Usman went pro in 2012 and won the welterweight title in 2019. George St. Pierre went pro in 2002 and won the welterweight title in 2006. Johnny Hendricks went pro in 2007 and won the welterweight title in 2014. Anderson Silva went pro in 1997 and won the middleweight title in 2006. John Jones went pro in 2008 and won the light heavyweight title in 2011. Lyoto Machida went pro in 2003 and won the light heavyweight title in 2009. Joanna Jędrzejczyk went pro in 2013 and won the strawweight title in 2015. Rafael dos Anjos went pro in 2004 and won the lightweight title in 2015. Ronda Rousey went pro in 2011 and won the bantamweight title in 2012. This one is a bit awkward because the UFC had not added the women's divisions until 2013, but the title was absorbed and promoted to a UFC title in 2012, so we're counting hers as 1 year. Now this is where I kept most of the long-termers. Michael Bisping went pro in 2004 and won the middleweight title in 2016. Bisping also spent 10 years in just the UFC before winning his title. Charles Oliveira went pro in 2008 and won the lightweight title in 2021. Charles spent 11 years in the UFC before winning his UFC title. Fabricio Verdum went pro in 2002 and won the heavyweight title in 2012. Robbie Lawler went pro in 2001 and won the welterweight title in 2014. Eddie Alvarez went pro in 2003 and won the lightweight title in 2016. Juliana Pena went pro in 2009 and won the bantamweight title in 2021. Valentina Shevchenko went pro in 2003 and won the flyweight title in 2018. Glover Teixeira went pro in 2002 and won the light heavyweight title in 2021, with 9 years in the UFC before getting to his UFC title. So let's break down a few key numbers here. The shortest time from a professional start in MMA to a UFC champ is Ronda Rousey at 1-ish years, but directly followed by her is Jon Jones at 3 years. These two are absolute outliers even for champions. Absurdly fast rises that probably will never be recreated again in the UFC, but who knows? The average length of time between a pro debut and winning the title is 8.76 years. The most common length between the two periods is actually 7 years, slightly below the average. The biggest difference between a pro debut and winning the UFC title is wildly these two fighters. Valentina Shevchenko at 15 years, she's only 34. And Glover Teixeira at 19 years, just short of 2 decades in MMA. Shevchenko's number really is crazy because she's only 34. She would have been around 13 or 14 years old when she made her debut back in Kyrgyzstan. She has the potential to have one of the longest MMA careers ever if she keeps fighting as she has. Now let's talk Glover. If you're familiar with Teixeira and his early career with Chuck Liddell, Coach John Hackelman, and Dana White, you'd know they had trouble getting him visas for the UFC to come and fight, which delayed his joining the organization even though everyone knew how good he was. Teixeira actually spent 43 days in an arduous journey across the Americas, South America, all the way up to Mexico, and then crossed the USA-Mexico border in search of a better life. Teixeira actually went back to Brazil to try and legitimize himself and get a visa so he could return to the USA and fight for the UFC. But when he returned, he was denied a visa in the USA and had to wait several years. Only when his wife wrote a letter to Democratic Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy that things changed. Shortly after writing the letter, Glover and his wife would receive notice that Glover had his visa, and soon after he would get his fight in the UFC, where he would fight Kyle Kingsbury in 2012. And so his journey to the UFC title would begin 9 years ago, and 19 total years of MMA. Do you think anyone else will ever surpass Glover Teixeira's time in fighting to become a champion? Let us know in the comments below. We are thinking of making this into an MMA data series, a study of data science in MMA. Let us know what you want us to do in the next video. Longest careers, countries of origin, amount of fights before winning a title fight, or something you think would be cool. Thanks guys. Remember to follow me, Case Hearts, on everything, and follow Bloody Elbow on everything, MMA Mania on everything, and remember, we now have a TikTok, Combat Culture MMA. Thanks, and we hope to see you next time.